So let's kind of go through the process. So I send my labs away. I get a wellness report back. And by the way, when you start with this whole process, you actually get started on what's called pre-trition, which is the first 30 days of your nutrition. So you get a DNA kit, and inside that box, you get your swab test, you get your first 30 days of pre-trition, wonderful ingredients that are targeting inflammation, as well as some gut health. And we're going to be doing some future wellness sessions that are focused on just gut health itself and how important it is.
Yep.
So getting your body in the right place for an absorption place, so that when you do get your customized Ütrition, you can start taking it. So you take those swabs, you send them off to the lab. You get a wellness report back. 28 days later, your Ütrition arrives. Now, before we talk a little bit more about that, I want to just talk about the process of how it's actually created, because it's fascinating to me. And so essentially, what's happening is we have software that is proprietary. It's 2 decades in the making, that is analyzing these 18 different SNPs. And then from there, it goes over to a machine, the only machine in the world. We call it the Utritionator, and a label goes on your bottle. They scan that label, which essentially pulls up your formulation, and it goes through a machine with 24 different hoppers with close to 100 different plant-based, peer-reviewed, non-GMO, vegan-friendly ingredients, and essentially creates your Ütrition. The idea is that there's close to 400 million possible combinations. No two are the same, and yours is one of them. How fascinating is that, Brett?
It's pretty awesome. I got to say, one of the things, that was my first question when I spoke with Ron Williams, right? I think actually you and I had a conversation with Ron. I remember I was in the airport flying somewhere, I forget. And I got on a call with you guys, and I was like, Ron, tell me, this is the first question I have. How do you reconcile the data? Okay, so how do you take 18 SNPs? Each SNP has 3 possible outcomes. So the variables on just the test alone are pretty astronomical, right? And then you consider trying to pair that with 100 different ingredients. Like, how do you reconcile all the data, right? And that's where the software comes in. So the software, 20 years to write software, I couldn't do it. Not just running software. I don't know if I could just sit down and do something for 20 years on the trot. That would just be, I would probably get bored. But so kudos to the scientists who wrote the software. I mean, 20 years is outstanding. But this is the first, the first, and dare I say, the only company that I've seen that's been able to reconcile the data. So the SNPs, and then also reconcile what we're doing with ingredients and pull them into one formulation. So that for me is a total game changer. Because here's how most other companies work, right? And I've worked with a lot of other companies with this before I found out about Uforia, is you'll run, some of them are running 45 SNPs. Okay, and so you'll get your 45 SNPs, and then it'll say, for this SNP, take B6, B12, vitamin C, and eat lots of protein. And then the SNP right underneath will say, avoid B12, avoid B6, watch your vitamin C, and eat a low-protein diet. And that will just literally run for 45 pages. And most people, I actually stopped running these tests in my practice, because my clients would bring them in, and they'd be like, hey, man, I'm confused. What should I do? And I would look at them and go, I'm also confused. I don't know how to reconcile all this, because I only have a human brain. I don't know how to do that. And I tried, and I did it, and I would customize these formulations, but it's an astronomical amount of time. And in addition to being a lot of time, it's also super costly, So I hear a little pitter patter in the background.
Yeah,
there.
Sorry, those are little feet running by.
It's all good. So so when you think about this, like, I've done this, I've done what Uforia does in practice, and it takes hours to figure this stuff out. And not just that, you're not even 100% sure if you're getting it right. And then when you do get it right, I take it to a compounding pharmacy, and literally my clients have spent hundreds of dollars on a customized formulation. So what's really cool about Uforia is we've streamlined the technology so that we can still produce something that's high quality, that's customized, that's designer, but we can keep the cost down, which is really, really neat. And you're sort of like also maintaining accuracy, because you're using software versus your brain, which can be very inconsistent.
Well, and a lot of these DNA tests that are out there, I mean, you could still do the DNA test. They can tell you what you need or don't need, or whatever the case might be. But even if you go buy it, you're still buying blind nutrition. You're still buying
100%.
supplements that are off the shelf that have an RDA, and it doesn't make sense that Lanice, you're watching right now, and Burnaby or Maria, that you guys are taking the same recommended daily allowance of these different ingredients that I would take or that Brett would take. And so, again, you know, there's a big difference with what we're doing and what else is out there in the
well, and also
today.
to add to that, I mean, it's impossible. I will say that it is impossible to find a formulation off the shelf, dare I say even 2 or 3, that will not have ingredients in there that you don't need. Okay, so I'm going to say that again. It's impossible to find a formulation. So go and run a test. They'll tell you take A, B, C, D, whatever. Go and try and find a formulation that's going to match just yours. You will find A, B, C, and D, but you're probably going to get E, F, G, H, I, J, and K in there as well that you don't need. And so now you're back to square one, where you're taking products that have ingredients in there that you don't actually need. And so the way I look at Uforia and what we're doing is this is the ultimate multivitamin. And I say vitamin because it's not really just vitamins. It's the ultimate multi-nutrient, if you will, that's tailored to your genetic makeup. So the things that you're taking in there, you know that you need because we've identified what those genetic weaknesses are. And that's the beauty of it all.
So those that are watching might ask, well, when you say nutrition, I mean, is it like a meal plan? Do you send me, you know, meals, or what is it exactly when we say nutrition? I mean, you know, pills, powders, tell me how the product comes.
Mm-hmm. So the product itself, the default is actually capsules. And every single product is the same amount. So the overall volume is 225 grams. And you just take, you know, 1 scoop a day. So it's a 30-day, it's metered out at 30 servings, It's metered out for 30 days, right? So the product lasts 30 days. But the capsules themselves, you know, a lot of people go, well, 10 capsules, like, holy smokes, that's a lot. And I want to say to you folks out there that are watching right now, if you're into health and wellness and you're taking supplements, there's a lot of you that are taking a lot more than 10 capsules a day, I can tell you that much. And you're still not sure why you're taking them. So to me, doing 3 capsules for breakfast, 3 capsules for lunch, even 4 for breakfast, 3 for lunch, 3 for dinner, it's not really all that much, right? You can get powders, and so the powder doesn't taste too bad. There are some isolated ingredients themselves that usually don't taste too good, but Uforia has done a pretty good job at adding natural flavors to the product so that it's quite palatable. And there's a lot of people, I mean, 40% of the population doesn't like pills or they can't swallow pills. So you got folks that are a little bit older who perhaps don't like swallowing pills. You can opt for a powder form as well, which, again, might just be easier for some folks to take.